Okay. Here we are again. Tracking the wonderful mysteries of recording in the studio, chronicling the pursuit of the secrets of making good music. Back again, as always, same place, same time, same relative. Need to fix that camera. These are really good. I think these are probably some of the best uses of the live stream time I'm going to have for a while, I feel. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to fix this camera to where it's relatively high up off the ground, to where I can get it to function properly. And actually, it's perhaps that's a good spot for it. I can't see anything. So that way I can pivot at will. I got people coming in here saying hi. Hi. So maybe about there. What do you reckon? I don't know. I have no idea. What I really need to do is probably figure out. I need to figure something out here. I need to pivot the camera at will, and I'm not going to be able to do that until I get something fixed onto the. What I need is a nail or some kind of a piece of string. That's what I need, a piece of string. Okay. So we'll be back with a piece of string. Some kind of tie wire, piano wire possibly, reserved for a specific fiend. Okay, all right. Da, 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 da. Right. Now that's going to fall, so I'm going to put it here just until I get back. When I get back, everybody had best been behaving themselves and no trolling. Because if I find there's been any trolling, it will not be very good. Alright. Okay. We're back. I don't know. What do you think you're supposed to be looking at? See, this is the thing. People want to come in here being a smartass. You're going to soon find out, being on this channel, it is no place for smartasses. Because you've just stumbled upon the most gigantic smartass that ever lived. So. Now, we need to fix this camera where it can command the whole room. The only way to do that is to use some of this tie wire. And loop it around the tripod. Around a fixed point in space. Yes, of course. That's how I'm deciding to do it, and therefore that's how it shall be done. Anyone who prefers to challenge me, feel free. Alright, so we got that far. Now, let me just slip here. This should actually do it. Right. You can kind of see something. Enough fun. Okay, so we can kind of see everything now. You can see the drums, you can see the keyboard, you can see my stupid self as well. Oh. I suppose we're almost ready to begin. Let there be more light. Okay. Fantastic. Okay, we're nearly ready. We're nearly ready to start the Tracking Logbook, which is the title of the live stream. Don't believe me? Check it. Also check the rules while you're at it. The rules of this live stream are that you do not pile in here going, hi, because guess what? I'm going to try not to swear when I say this, but I hate to break it to you. I'm not here to say hi back to you, okay? I'm doing my own thing, right? If you have something to add to the atmosphere of the live stream, if you have a question, if you have something to perhaps enlighten me or other people about the recording process, the studios in general, you are welcome to have your input. But please, don't come in here saying hi or introducing yourself, because you're just going to be ignored. Okay? I want to get that out of the way. Okay. Let's get started. So, what we were working on a couple hours ago was a specific issue that I had with the snare drum. This one in particular, this is the snare drum. And the issue that I had was there was a fundamental frequency that was offending. And I had to cut out said frequency from the snare drum with EQ. And so now I'm actually at a stage where I'm sort of happy with the problem being fixed with the snare drum. And the reason I'm being so concise about what I say is because these live streams are not merely for entertainment purposes. They're not merely for educational purposes. They're meant for me to refer back to so that I can remember what I'm doing in the studio. I can refer back to these live streams and I can just remember what I've done over the last few days, and I can be kind of caught up. So that's the whole reason why I'm speaking like this, and I'm being very concise and succinct with what I'm saying. Okay, so we've got that out of the way. Now let's get into it. What I would like to do is I would like to play back some audio that I recorded earlier on Logic Pro. And this camera's moving about because I've got it on a short lead. So anyway, I'm going to pull up Logic Pro here. And what you're looking at the top screen there, this is an EQ section that is within Logic Pro. And it looks like this because this is referred to as Tilt EQ. Now, Tilt EQ is very important because Tilt EQ allows the user, the end user, to tilt the balance, the frequency balance of their mix. So you'll notice that to the right, or whichever, you're probably looking at the left hand side of your screen. To the left hand side of your screen, you will notice that the EQ, or the low frequencies, have been pretty much cut off at about probably 40 or 50 hertz. Much the same as you will look up here, right here, and you will notice that the high end has been rolled off to a point where the extreme above human hearing frequencies have been taken down, because there is information on either end of the extreme that becomes a problem later on whenever we go to do the final mix and the final master. So you will notice that's up on the screen right now.
So in a moment, I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But first, what I'd like to do is I would like to talk a little bit about the reason why I'm here tonight. And that is purely for my own benefit. I am bequeathing my time, which I'm lending my time to you mere mortals to learn some of this stuff, simply because I need to be able to record it in real time, and I don't have a lot of storage space. So YouTube is kind of like a huge hard drive that I can just store everything that I'm doing in real time within the studio here. So whatever anybody can learn or pick from this, or even teach me, if you are so inclined to know a bit more about this stuff than I do, you're welcome to chime in. Otherwise, I will continue working as I do. I will try to explain some things as I go along, but just bear in mind that I am also explaining these things for my own benefit so that I can refer back to these live streams, so I can remember pretty much where I'm at. And if I do end up changing something, I will know what I've changed, and if I want to change it back, there's an easy way for me to refer back to this and say, oh, here's where I was, here's where I'm going to put things back. Very simple. Okay. All right. So if you were with us a couple of hours ago, we were talking about the snare drum and how I didn't like what the snare drum was doing. Now, I'm not going to repeat the whole thing. Rather, I'm going to pull up the main Logic Pro window here. So let's see if we can open that. And bear with me. It seems to have opened up just another copy of the window. Aha! Here we go. All right, so we're going to swap places with this one. So we're going to pull this up here. And we have a series of tracks that we've recorded. And there's a drum loop here. What we want to do is we want to go in and we want to play just through the headphones here what we've recorded, so that I can see if I'm happy or not with the changes that I've made with the snare drum. We're just going to loop this section here. You probably can't see that from the very top window. So I'm going to go into OBS here and move things around a little bit. Pull that down, pull this down a little bit. And if you haven't already, consider hitting that like button and subscribing if you want more of this content. Okay, all right, so we've got this ready here. Now what I'd like to do is I'd like to start the loop somewhere about there. And when I start playing this, it's just going to basically play this over and over again. And I'm going to be doing a little bit of commentary as I go, just to remark on what I like, what I don't like, and we're going to solo the drums firstly and foremostly. Here we go. Okay, so what I'm liking is through the cans, through the earphones, things sound nice and tight. The issue is, as a matter of fact, the only issue that I'm having is that whenever I start to listen back through this thing, the phone, I'm getting this crazy kind of whomp sound. It's like a whomp compressed sound. And what I'm trying to figure out is that coming from within Logic, or is that coming from the phone itself? Or is it coming from YouTube's compression or something to do with OBS? Now, the only way to really sort this out and figure out exactly what the problem is would be to export something through to the telephone and to listen to it back that way, which is something I will do eventually. I will actually do that eventually. But I'd like to try and figure out if it is something to do with Logic or if it's something to do with something else that I can fix. The other problem I'm having is the snare itself seems to be having this kind of it's like an attack before the actual sound. It's like a stick attack sound before the sound. And it's hard to know where that's coming from. So what we may do in a moment is we're going to take the audio signal, the signal chain, the signal path, and we might strip it back on the snare drum to see exactly what might be causing this stick attack sound before the sound actually begins. So why don't we do that? We're going to go ahead and select the snare here. And let me just resize some stuff here. We're going to resize Logic here for a second. And for some reason, that's actually resizing everything. But I just want to pull it down here and have a look at the snare drum. Look at the signal path. And I want to resize OBS while I'm at it because it takes up quite a bit of space, OBS does, on the screen. Okay, so now that we've got that, let's look at the snare drum and let's look at the signal path. What's happening here? So first we're running it through an EQ. It's our very first part on here. So we've got a channel EQ. And the EQ is how I've EQ'd it. It needs a lot of shaping. We also have then a gain knob. I don't know why the gain knob is there. Now, okay, yeah, no, so the gain is to invert the phase on the snare. So maybe what we need to do is we need to hit the phase button on the snare and see what that does. Now, historically, when I've played with the phase button, I kind of like the button to be pushed on, so I don't know if that's going to make any difference. I'm simply going to push that now. So actually, no, I'm going to put it back in the initial state. So I've turned the phase back on. I'm going to hit the snare, and I'm going to mute this microphone for a second so I can hear just the snare. Phase button, which you're probably not going to hear much of a difference. So with that done, I doubt very seriously that that is causing the stick sound. I would say that most likely what it could be is some of these other effects that I have in the busing. For instance, we have on the master bus here, well, you know what, actually, having a look at bus 6, we're only minus 29 dB adding this snare to the multipressor and to the other channel EQ. So honestly, this might be something that has to do with, maybe there's something in the master chain that's causing it to do that. So for instance, now what we'd like to do then is say, okay, we're going to turn bus 6 off for just the snare, and we're going to listen back to the snare. We're going to listen through the phone to see if there is a problem. Just the snare. Actually, I'll tell you what. Let's listen to the mix of the drums with the multipressor channel turned off to see if we're still having that issue. Just with the snare. Okay, so we're going to turn our mic off here. Okay, so I would like to remark immediately that turning the bus that was feeding the snare into the multipressor had no effect on this kind of stick attack sound that's happening whenever I'm hitting the snare drum. So I'm going to turn that back on. So that's back on now. And now what I'd like to do is I would like to come into all drums up here. We've selected that. And now we have everything feeding into that, pretty much. We're going to turn the multipressor off. So that is all of the compression that's happening on the drums. There's nothing else. There's no other compression stuff happening. There's no individual compressors on the kick or anything like that. Let me double check and make sure. No, we have an enveloper here for the kick. So we're going to turn that off. You know what? We're going to go through here and make sure we have everything that is possibly compressing anything turned off. Okay, we got all that down. All that's gone. Okay, that's it. So now let's listen to this loop without any multipressor doing anything for any of the drums, and see if through the phone we're still getting this clomping. It's this horrible clunky clomping effect that we don't like. And if we are still getting that, then it must be having something to do with one of two things. It may be OBS, might have some kind of outside compression or something that it does as an overhead, or it could be YouTube's compression. Actually, it could be three things. It could be that, it could be YouTube's compression, or it could be just the way that the speakerphones work on the phone. So we're going to play that loop now. I'm going to turn my mic off and shut up. Okay, now I would like to remark on the fact that that is ever so slightly better. It hasn't completely gone away. It hasn't completely stopped, but that clomping has reduced. So it must therefore have something to do with the multipressor causing the kick and the snare to misbehave. The only issue now is, though, that the multipressor is kind of an essential component to the kick drum sound, and it's also doing a little something for the entire kit as a whole. So it's unfortunate, but what I'm thinking is there a way then to work around that? Is there a workaround for that? But what I'd like to do before I jump into anything, I want to do some A/B tests. So basically, I'm going to turn all of the effects back on for one section, and then I'm going to turn them off. So pretty much we're going to bypass the effects for one measure, then we're going to turn the effects back on for another measure, and we're going to see if there's any actual real difference that's occurring, trying to figure out where this clomping is coming from. Okay, so we're going to start the loop with the multipressor back on. So let's come back in here and let's turn on multipressor for all. Go back into the kick, turn the enveloper back on for the kick. The snare doesn't need the enveloper, and everything else looks pretty good. So let's do a few loops with this, and then see if the problem persists or if it gets better. Okay. Now what I've got to do though is I really probably need to pull this. Oh, can we see that from there? Let's enlarge that to where I don't think anybody can even see the mouse. No, they can't even see the mouse. Well, that's okay, because we're going to go into all drums here, and we're going to turn off multipressor, but we're going to turn it on back on when we do the other loop. Okay, here we go. We turn off my mic. All right, so anyway, I don't know how successful of a test that was for an A/B test, but I am kind of hearing that clomping shit is happening more so when the multipressor is turned on. But the mystery is I'm not hearing it in the headphones. I'm only hearing it through the iPhone. So I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's the phone or if it's something still having to do with logic. Let me double check and make sure that there is nothing on the master mix channel that could be causing the problem. And no, there's nothing there. There's only a gain switch. There's only gain here, and that's not even doing anything. And just a channel EQ, which is doing the tilt EQ. So how do we fix this? It's a problem because I'm not hearing any other drums. When I play any other drums, either on YouTube or anything else, it's not doing this clomping shit that these drums are doing. So one possibility is, before I do anything else, very important because we don't want to reinvent the wheel. The one possibility is that it could simply be the way the kit sounds. With all the tuning, with all the mic placement, everything under the sun, sometimes the sound can just simply be the way that the kit is designed to sound and respond. And there's probably not much you can do about it. That's one possibility. The other possibility is that I've done something ass backwards. Whether maybe it could be that the kick drum microphone possibly needs its phase inverted, in which case I come in here into the kick, and then I would open that up, and all right, that's already inverted. I've already got that inverted. So should we uninvert the kick and see how that sounds? So we'll try that. We're going to uninvert the kick. We're going to have it normally, its normal phase cycle, and we're going to try that. And we're also going to try the snare being in its normal phase cycle, and to see if that's possibly what the issue is. Because at this stage, I doubt that it's the multipressor that's causing the problem. I could be wrong. So I'm going to turn the microphone off, and we're going to do this. So first off, we're going to take everything back to zero with the phase. We're going to put it in normal phase for everything. Okay. Okay, so now everything is in its normal phase state. We haven't inverted any phases on anything. And let's just make damn sure that we don't have a gain switch on here on the master section that we have done any phase with. No, we haven't. Okay, all right. So we should be good to go now. We're going to play this loop without anything phase happening and see what happens. Here we go. Now we're going to bring the phase back in to see if the problem is worse or better. Okay, so just from that little test, I'm still not hearing any difference whatsoever. So I really don't know at this stage that it has anything to do with any of the plugins that we've chosen on there or the way that we have things in the signal chain. I doubt that the issue with the whomping, clumping sound has anything to do other than it is coming from either the microphones, the interface, or the drum kit itself. So the very first thing we want to do, which honestly we could have done in the very beginning, but I wanted to see firsthand if there was something very simple we could do to fix it. We now trace the problem back to the kit itself. And the first thing I'd like to address is the kick. So how do we do that? Well, I'm looking at the kick drum right now, and so logic would tell me, process of logicizing this whole issue would tell me that maybe the whomping sound, well, if you think about something that whomps, you would imagine it's maybe something that's got a maybe it's the beater head. It could be the beater head. It doesn't have the reso head on the back. It's completely open. So I'm thinking it could be possibly the beater head could be the problem. It's causing the whomping sound. It could be from, a millisecond after the beater hits the beater head. It could be simply a rush of air that is hitting the microphone at a not so good angle. So how do we go about tackling the issue? How do we actually go about fixing it? Well, we could try possibly repositioning the microphone inside of the kick drum. We could go in there and just move it around a little bit slightly. We could move it back or forth, further or closer to the beater. But with moving the kick drum mic, we run into the issue of then we are going to have to re-EQ everything, which is a bit of a problem. So we know that we want to go for the source. We want to go back to the drum kit and we want to figure out what is causing this whomping sound, right? We want to go to the source. But again, if we do that, we risk then having to re-EQ everything and possibly spending another day trying to get the kick drum to sound decent. So we live in a day, in an age now, where we have this thing called Google. And I'm inclined to use Google right now to figure out if it's worthwhile me going to the source and trying to mess around with the source and risking having to re-EQ everything. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to go on to Google and I'm going to ask Google a question. So possibly Google might be able to inform me of the best thing I can possibly do to fix the problem quickly and efficiently, rather than have to spend another day re-EQing everything. Okay, now there's one thing I have to do, which is I really need to get a wireless keyboard for this thing. But short of that at the moment, I need this. this thing unplugged. Ah, you fucking cunt. Son of a bitch. Alright. Now, I have to trace this thing all the way back to the computer so I can find a plug for the keyboard. Never easy. Without getting shocked, of course. Okay. I think I found it. Alright. I got it. Sit over there. So now, we're going to remove the camera momentarily because we need to put the camera back there because it's a more suitable spot for it, so you won't be able to see the studio. Okay, so we're back again. Very good. So now that I have that in a better place, I have room now for the keyboard to go up front, where it belongs. And now I can search for my question, which I quest to figure this thing out. Okay, so Google, I'm just going to say my drum kit sounds whompy. When mic'd. Now, immediately, Google comes up with something that says, a whompy, muddy, or boomy sound when miking drums is almost always caused by a combination of resonance, too much sustain, of which I don't have, by the way. There are no resonator heads on any of the drums, except the snare. Poor microphone placement, which is possibly what it is, or phase issues between microphones. That could be it too. The mics are capturing the natural decay of the drums, which often sounds less tight than what you hear behind the kit. Okay. That's a lot to take in, but it makes sense. All right, so first of all, the drums don't ring too long. That's another suggestion it's giving me. The other thing is angle the mics. Do not place microphones perpendicular 90 degrees to the drum head. Aha! That might be the ticket, folks. That may simply be the issue that we're having. because I have this, I have the kick mic 90 degrees to the beater head. So maybe we can do that. Okay, so avoid the center is another suggestion it has. Move mics further back. Close miking directly over the head can pick up too much high frequency attack and resonance. Back the microphone off by 1 inch or 2 to get a more natural balanced tone. Now, I am actually inclined to try this suggestion simply because it makes the most sense. Okay, so I'm going to go in now to the kick drum. I'm going to move the kick drum mic back a couple of inches, a little bit closer to the back of the kick, and we're going to see if there's a bit of an improvement with the kick. So let's do that now. In order to get back there, I have to move some stuff. So, here we go. We're going to maybe move it back. I would say probably give us a good 4 inches we're going to move it back from. Really want to get this right, you know. I don't want to have to do this 10 million times. Right, and so now this kick microphone is back quite a bit more than what it used to be. So we're going to try that. We're going to see if there's any noticeable difference with that. And if there is, I'll be happy. And the snare is obviously something that I can always work with very easily because it's just here. But having to get up inside of that kick drum is a bit of a task. This is against the wall. Okay, so we did that. Now, with the new mic position, I'd like to take the liberty of recording a new, I don't know what the fuck just happened here. I'd like to take the liberty of recording a new drum track so that we can see if there's anything that's happened with the kick. So I'm going to go ahead and arm that, and let's just record a new thing. Okay. So now we're going to listen back and see if there's any difference that's been made. So here we go. Okay, and so I'm not getting any difference. As a matter of fact, it almost actually sounds worse. So what's the cure for this? Do we need to just have the kick mic angled at some stage? How do we do that? So let's maybe just angle the kick mic. Well, I found the problem. There's a big giant fucking boulder inside of my kick drum. I have no idea how it got there, but that seems to be the problem. So I'm going to put this here. Whatever leprechaun left that. I'll be cracking it up and see if there's any gold in it. Okay, let's move the mic. I'd like to angle the microphone now at this stage because I don't trust that it doesn't have something to do simply with the angle of the mic. So we're going to try an extreme situation here. I've twisted the mic to where it's pointing away from the beater head now. So we're going to record something with that now. Here we go. So did that take the clomping sound away? Let's find out. Okay, so to my ears, unless my ears deceive me, that sounds like the clomp got taken care of. I'm no longer hearing a clomping sound coming from the kick. I want to try it again, just one more time, just to make sure, but also, if this is working well with the kick, I also want to try it with the snare, because if that is going to get rid of the problem and I can keep the all those other things on there, and everything's going to be fine. And I can actually have the snare mic farther over here because I'm going to avoid all of these issues altogether. So I've now put the snare mic, or what I'm using for a snare mic, all the way. I've probably got about 4 inches difference here now between there. So let's try this now. Let's try this. Okay, so the grand question is movement of the mics going to solve the issue? Is it going to correct the problem of this whomping, clomping sound? Now for the grand conclusion, we're going to play this drum loop and we're going to see firsthand if that is actually the case. Okay, here we go. Okay, so it turns out that the whomping and clumping mess that we had with the drums was indeed coming from the fact that the microphones were too close, number one, to the beater, and the other mic, the snare mic, was just too close to the actual snare. That was it. And I knew because I was doing nothing wrong with the plugins that I was using. There was no phase cancellation issues or anything like that. It all came down to the placement of the microphones. Everything was just whomping, too much attack, and I'm very happy about that. You wouldn't believe how happy I am. What I would like to do, though, however, is I'd like to just make sure that we've got this at a really good distance away from the beater head. I'm really happy. And we had it at we just had it at a really crappy angle before, you know. It was pointed right at the beater head, and we were having this just horrible doubling thing happening, and that's where it was coming from. So I'm very happy that finally figured out that problem, because it's one of those things that can just drive you nuts, and it was starting to drive me nuts. It really was. Let me tell you, like, you wouldn't believe the you wouldn't believe the kind of pain you go through trying to figure out some of these issues. You just don't know where things are coming from. You don't know what's happening. So let's try this new thing. We got a little pillow in there on top of the mic to further diffuse some of the sound. So let's record another part. Okay, let's listen back to that and see if there's any noticeable difference. Okay, so what we're doing now is the whomp came back momentarily. Now what I've done is I've actually turned the kick drum mic around to face away from the beater. I want to see what happens now. All right. So in all actuality, the the part where it is facing away from the kick is actually sounding better. So I'm wondering, is it possible that I can even angle it a bit more to make sure that there's not going to be any more direct mirroring coming back into that microphone? And I think, yes, indeed, there would be. So let's just put it right there at a nice slanted angle. The other thing too, though, is because I have the kick right against the wall, what could actually be happening is there could be some slap back coming from that wall back into the kick mic. But at this stage, it's so negligible, I don't think I really have to worry about it. But let me try this now. So we have yet another configuration of where we've just moved the kick mic, and it's in a slightly different spot. This is just one of the things I've really wanted to fix for a long time, and now I'm getting to do it. I'm pretty happy about that. So here we go. So, not the best drumming, but I'm just trying to test whether that is working or not. Let's try yet another one. Try yet another take to see what's going on. All right, so let's listen back to that, and I want to see, yeah, did the angle help or did it hurt? Okay, here we go. Okay, so from listening back through the phone, it is definitely that. Okay, so from listening back. Yeah, those the microphones were just they were they were too damn close for comfort inside the kick, and that's why we were having the problem. So now I'm sure that a couple days from now I'm going to be like trying to mess with it again. I'm going to be like, okay, let's fix this again. But to be truthful, I'm liking it how it is. And I think that it is so much better than what it was before. Like, my goodness, I had no idea. I really didn't. So just something as simple as moving the kick mic away from the beater has gotten rid of that whomping problem. So I'm very happy about that. The same thing with the snare here. I've moved the mic away from the snare. No more whomping snare. And I'm actually quite confident and happy to move on now and actually record some drums. This is actually really good. I'm very pleased about that. Didn't think I was going to get that far, as a matter of fact, today or tonight. So that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy. All right. So now we've solved that mystery. Now what I'm thinking is have we turned the phase back on? Yes, we have. We've inverted the phase on the kick. Now let's see about what it's doing with the snare. We haven't really got to worry too much with that because we don't have overheads on this kit. It sounds actually fantastic without the overheads. So we're going to leave the overheads off. I just want to check these gain knobs, the phase invert. And however, though, with the new mic position on the kick, we have to also then now consider what it's done to the EQ, because there's been a lot of corrective EQing that we've done with the kick mic to try and get rid of this clomping sound. So what we've got to do then, the kick sounds better, but it's not sounding as good as it can sound. So we have to now take everything back to square one, and we have to say to ourselves, okay, let's see now what we can do to get this kick sounding as good as it possibly can sound. Okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these damn shoes off because they're making a kind of a womp sound anyway. Take them off and freaking shoes are making me sweat anyway. Take these off. Put them there. But yeah, no, that's so good. So let's kind of listen then to the kick. And let's go and say, all right, let's come into where we've EQ'd the crap out of the kick. And look at this. I'm going to show you the EQ on the kick here. What we've done to try desperately to get rid of this whomping sound. We're never going to get rid of the whomp. The whomp was just going to be there forever. So yeah, so the whomp was going to be there forever and ever. So let's go into where the kick is, and let's turn on the EQ, and let's look at the EQ, and let's bring it up. Where's it at? Alright, so the EQ is... Where the fuck is the EQ? EQ is here. Okay. So here's the EQ that we have done to the kick to try and get it to behave. This is before the new mic position that we've adopted now. So we can see now that there's been quite a lot of radical shit that has happened to this kick, where I've tried desperately to get rid of whatever this whomping noise was. So a lot of this stuff is kind of now unnecessary as far as the natural sound of the kick drum, which now we're going to get a lot more of because we have repositioned the microphone. So what we want to do is we want to kind of just say, okay, let's maybe leave the 425 hertz here. That's kind of ducking where it needs to be. Actually, you know what? No, let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of all this, and even the low cut. Let's get rid of the low cut, and let's get rid of this gain. I don't know what that gain was up there for. This must have been for some air. So we're gonna reset that back to 0. And now that we have a clean sort of playing field, we're gonna go and say, all right, let's just listen to that loop again. And wow, it's actually sounding fantastic on its own. Wow, that sounds amazing. That sounds terrific. We could even go so far as to boost some of this. If we wanted to, we could. That sounds so much better. All right, so let's play it again. Aha. That's what we want. You see how much cleaner that sounds, how much less clomp there is. So honestly, I don't think it really needs too much EQing, because the other thing about it is that we have really, from the mic positioning on the actual kick drum, we've taken it so far away from the beater, from the actual tone, we're really kind of just getting like this remnant of what the inside of the rest of the kick sounds like. So it's not like we're getting this full range of tone. We're just kind of getting the sound, this thud, which is what we like. I like that sound. I like it through the headphones. I don't know if I like it through the phone, but let's keep playing it, mess around with it. I like it. Clean. Wow. What a sound. What a sound. We could boost that just like I'm doing here. Not that I want to. But if we do decide to try and find the fundamental again, so we can come here, we can go. We can find that fundamental nice and easy. Just like that. Same thing with the snare though. We're going to have to fix up the snare. What have we done with the snare? So let's come into the snare. Let's find the snare again. Okay, so here's our snare. The snare sounds like trash now, so let's fix it. Now that we have a new position. Give it a bit of a bump there. There may not be anything we have to do to the snare, as a matter of fact. So the snare is actually sounding pretty decent now. So even non-EQ'd, actually, as a matter of fact, let's just lower that a little bit. Just have a listen on the phone. Okay, so actually, I'm thinking that's pretty good. Honestly, I had no idea I was going to come this far this evening to actually getting much of this sorted. Um, I'm very happy with the result. So we're going to go ahead and leave it for this evening, and maybe come back in a little while and maybe do some trekking. All right, thank you so much.